Welcome to AG's Ace. The IPL is continuing under very difficult circumstances in India. Already there is a debate going on whether someone should put a stop to it or not. I firmly believe that the IPL should go on, and for various reasons which I've explained in a previous take. But this one is about players pulling out, and it includes overseas players primarily, but also someone like Ravi Ashwin has opted out, which seriously impacts the performance of the teams. Now, let's take a look at some of the basic facts and the list of players who have pulled out so far. They include Kane Richardson, Andrew Tye, Adam Zampa, Josh Hazelwood, Mitchell Marsh, Liam Livingston, and Ravi Ashwin. Now, the Aussie pair of Kane Richardson and Adam Zampa, both of RCB, have left the IPL and will have, they are returning to Australia. And they put it down to personal reasons, although Zampa has given a detailed interview to some Aussie media outlets, and some of his comments are, I thought, pretty tough and unsavory. One can be gracious in pulling out, but to raise doubts about the bio bubble and various other things about being benched is a different matter altogether. Now, Richardson and Zampa, they became the second and third Australians to leave the IPL following the Rajasthan Royals' Andrew Tye's departure on Sunday. Tye has flown back to Australia to avoid the risk of not being able to return home because of the situation here in India. He said that there was a number of reasons, but the main one was with the situation that has started to happen back home in Perth, with a lot of cases in hotel quarantine coming out of India. Tye, incidentally, did not play a single game this IPL as he warmed the benches in the first 5 matches. Englishman Liam Livingston, also of the Royals, had left for home last week, citing bubble fatigue. This is an issue which is bothering players. In fact, Ravi Shastri, even before the IPL began, said that it's pretty tough for players to cope with it. They may get used to it, but constantly living in the bubble takes a toll on the mind, the isolation and everything else, and seeing the same faces over and over again. And so that is creating an impact. Now, Ravi Ashwin has also left the Delhi Capitals team to return home to be with his family, and he wants to support his family again in these difficult times. DC has respected his decision. It was another blow to the Rajasthan Royals, who have already lost the likes of Ben Stokes, Jofra Archer, and Liam Livingstone. Archer did not join the team in India after undergoing surgery to treat a finger injury, which he managed to get during the Test series against India earlier this year. Stokes was ruled out with a fractured finger after their season opening match against Punjab Kings. These were 2 severe blows for the Rajasthan Royals. Ashwin said that my family is very important, and extended family, they are putting up a fight against COVID, and I want to support them during these difficult times. Of course, he's left the door open that in case the situation changes, he would like to be back. David Hussey, an assistant coach with KKR, has opened up on the subject to the Sydney Morning Herald, saying everyone's sort of a bit nervous about whether they can get back into Australia. I dare say there'll be a few other Australians a bit nervous about getting back into Australia. In any case, the latest news is that Australia has suspended all flights to India, but the BCCI has assured all players that who continue right through that once the IPL is over, it is their responsibility to fly them home, and they need not worry at all. So no one is being deserted. So that is a worry which should not be there. Nathan Coulter-Nile says we have a rapid response test in the morning ahead of another test later in the day, and then one at night as well. So 3 tests in a day, and that's for everyone, players, staff, the people who do laundry, cleaners, everyone. So which means that adequate precautions are being taken. In fact, media reports are also saying that the BCCI and the IPL management, they have banned any food coming in from outside. So you stick to the hotel food, no matter how boring it may be for some players. Sunrisers Hyderabad all-rounder Mitchell Marsh, he pulled out of the IPL due to personal reasons. He didn't want to be away from his family for such a long time. So that was purely his call. Chennai Super Kings were also hit when pacer Josh Hazelwood decided against landing in India, and retained by them. Hazelwood cited bubble fatigue as the reason behind pulling out. Hazelwood has now revealed that COVID concern was the main reason I pulled out. It all depends on how tight the bubbles are. Some are easier than others, and obviously quarantine is a different story entirely. So many players resent the fact that they are boxed into a hotel room for days on end, and it gets very difficult for them to spend that time. Now, crucially, the BCCI says As of now, IPL is going ahead. Obviously, if anyone wants to leave, that's perfectly fine. This was obviously said on conditions of anonymity. Cricket Australia has no plans of calling back players and staff who are there on their own time. The Aussie Prime Minister Scott Morrison sounded a bit tough when he said that no special gestures will be made to players who want to leave India and come back to Australia. They have to manage on their own, since demands were made for chartered flights, because they said this is not an authorized Australian tour. Now, crucially, there are now 14 Australian players remaining in the IPL, including, I'll run through the names quickly, Steve Smith, Warner, Pat Cummins, coaches like Ricky Ponting, Simon Katich, and former Australian cricketers turned commentators like Matthew Hayden, Brett Lee, Michael Slater, and Lisa Sthalekar. They're all here. I want to make a couple of points, and they basically revolve around the fact that players leaving for whom at this early stage does impact teams, as it upsets the balance. While players do have a right and choice of leaving the IPL midway, it in no way diminishes the efforts and precautions being taken by the BCCI to create an effective bio-bubble. I thought Adam Zampa was too scathing in his remarks about the IPL, and that the bio-bubble was ineffective, or that the league should have been held in the UAE. Now, please remember that the IPL started before the onset of the second wave in India. Zampa also had issues about being benched to complain of that to the media as grossly unfair to his league side, because that's a call the team management takes. Maybe it would impact his future in the IPL. Coulter Nile, I thought, made a very important point. He said it's safer for him to stay in the bio bubble than depart for Australia amid the rising COVID-19 cases. So last but not the least, it might be safer for players in there, and also it does affect the franchises if some of their key players just fly out or make themselves unavailable. Of course, they do have their personal reasons, but where the business of cricket is concerned, it does create a very adverse impact. Thanks for watching AG's Ace.